Meghan Markle has never been a member. I don't know if she's become a member now, but she had been working for Soho House since at least...
Oh, Meghan Markle calls it destiny. But let's be honest, everyone else calls it networking with a royal twist. Because, come on, fairy tales don't usually begin with a Soho House membership card, do they? It wasn't some magical pumpkin carriage moment. It was VIP lists, champagne brunches, and velvet ropes. The stuff fairy tales pretend to forget.
Didn't buy a membership. She was a working girl for Soho House.
Prince Harry? He thought he knew everything about Meghan, every chapter, every page, every footnote, until one night he saw one photograph that changed everything.
She started on Suits and she befriended Jessica Mulroney. Her status changed.
It was this faded yacht photo, buried deep online, half forgotten, like a memory that doesn't want to be found.
She was one of my Deal or No Deal girls that were, she was a caddy for all of my celebrities.
Sunlight bouncing off the water, laughter, the clinking of champagne glasses, everything looked picture perfect, but there, in the corner, something small, almost invisible, a navy blue canvas bag with the Soho House emblem stamped right across it. Now, to anyone else, it's just a bag. But to Harry?
In the end, nothing beats the truth, the real fact.
Oh, that name carried weight. It carried whispers. It carried warning. See, Soho House wasn't just another private club. Oh no, it was a gateway, a glittering portal that connected actresses to billionaires, models to politicians, and rising stars to royalty. The kind of place where your next coincidence was actually carefully arranged by someone sipping an espresso in the corner. And suddenly, the math stopped adding up.
Sandra, have you noticed how he completely avoids looking at Meghan Markle when she's around him or when she was around him?
The media had spoon-fed us a fairy tale. An actress meets a prince by chance. Love conquers all. Tradition bows to modernity. But what if that's not what really happened? What if it wasn't fate, but strategy? Because that one photograph, the bag, the yacht, the faces no one ever mentioned in interviews, it cracked open a secret Harry was never meant to uncover. A network of introductions, a map of names, a pattern so deliberate it sent chills down his spine. From Istanbul to London to Toronto, every city revealed another connection. And at the center of it all, one man pulling the strings, Marcus Anderson. And just like that, Harry wasn't just questioning his marriage anymore, he was questioning the origin story itself.
So when Meghan came along into the scene, I just thought, this is fascinating. How is this?
Because when your fairy tale starts looking more like a strategy, love doesn't feel like destiny anymore. It feels like a setup. It all started quietly. Late night, Frogmore Cottage. Harry wasn't hunting for trouble. He was just searching for truth. Photos scattered across his desk. Old tabloids. Archived Instagram posts. Little fragments of Meghan's life before the palace. At first, it was nostalgia. But then, a pattern began to emerge. In photo after photo, one symbol kept reappearing. A champagne glass etched with the same crest. A velvet invitation with the same embossed initials. Soho House International.
So Jessica Mulroney introduced her to Marcus Anderson in Toronto.
To the public, it was just a swanky escape for celebrities and CEOs. But to those who really knew London's elite, it was so much more. It was where careers were curated, reputations built, and introductions orchestrated like art. And right at the center of it all was a man Harry barely knew, Marcus Anderson. But Meghan, oh, she knew him very well. He was her confidant, her travel companion, and according to Society insiders, her social strategist. Archived blogs, event registries, they painted a web. Marcus was the invisible thread connecting Meghan to every power player across Europe and North America. Every new discovery made Harry's pulse race faster. That yacht? Not random. Those parties? Not spontaneous. Those coincidences? They were curated, every single one perfectly aligned to lead her right into his world. And as the clock ticked past midnight, the picture grew darker.
This gentleman right here, that's Nick Jones, the original founder of Soho House. Guess where he's going there? He's arriving at Meghan Markle and Harry's wedding as guest of honor. Oh yeah, so
the same names funding Harry's charities were the same ones smiling beside Meghan years before they'd ever met. That wasn't coincidence, that was architecture. And it was about to reveal a story no palace press release ever dared to tell. For years, we believed the myth. A prince tired of royal life meets an actress looking for purpose. Two hearts, oceans apart, united by fate. The media called it the modern royal love story, the kind that could heal a monarchy. The palace smiled. The headlines swooned. Every interview, every photo spread painted Meghan as the woman who made the world believe in love again. But behind those glowing magazine covers, something didn't line up. That famous blind date arranged by a mutual friend? Yeah, not so random after all. Turns out that friend was a longtime member of Soho House London, the same network orbiting Meghan's life for years, and the media never mentioned she'd already been attending private Soho gatherings in Toronto, events reserved for elite members, not mid-level TV stars. Oh, and guess who was managing those guest lists? Marcus Anderson himself, the very man sitting at the same table where Meghan's meet cute with Harry was quietly planned. Every coincidence had fingerprints. Every meeting had a host. To the world, it looked like chemistry. But inside the Soho circle, it looked like choreography. It looked like even the first photos of Meghan and Harry together, those cozy park strolls, those secret trips to Botswana, they followed a media rhythm too perfect to be natural. Someone had been curating their image long before the cameras showed up. As the world cheered the royal engagement, few noticed how seamlessly Meghan's old social circles slipped into Harry's world. Different circles, same faces, because this wasn't a fairy tale written by destiny, it was directed by design. And that's when the script truly began to unravel. What started as one shocking discovery turned into a flood. The deeper Harry dug, the faster the connections multiplied, faster than he could even breathe. Familiar names began to appear: socialites, donors, business partners, the very people who'd once written checks for his charities. Only now those same names popped up beside Meghan in photos from years before she'd even met him. Different countries, different events, same glowing faces, same laughter, same champagne. It wasn't random overlap, it was precision. Harry began finding archived guest lists showing Meghan at Soho House, Istanbul, Madrid, Barcelona, 2014 to 2016. Always the same crowd: financiers, diplomats, heirs, and social players who, years later, would conveniently resurface in his own world. Coincidence? Please. Old society blogs described Marcus Anderson's private parties as something else entirely. Curated matchmaking nights, women invited for ambition, men for influence. Every meeting, every introduction planned like chess, moves on a social board. These were nights for the beautiful and the powerful. Women were groomed, mentored on charm, elegance, posture, how to glide through conversations that mattered. And Harry, reading all this, realized something chilling. He wasn't Marcus's first royal acquaintance. And Meghan? She wasn't the first actress to pass through those glimmering circles either, but she was the one who learned how to stay. Then came the financial inconsistencies, membership fees, private jets, lavish trips, all of it, wildly beyond what an actress on a mid-tier TV salary could afford. Invoices hinted that someone with influence, had been footing the bill. Corporate partnerships, sponsorships disguised as friend favors. And when Harry tried to confront old acquaintances, the phone went cold, messages unanswered. One old contact finally whispered, "Don't dig too deep, Harry." That world protects its own, that line stuck like glass in his chest. Because what if the fairy tale he'd defended to the world, every headline, every speech had been manufactured? The life he thought was built on love might have been built on strategy. And if the timeline was wrong, what else had been rewritten? When Harry finally traced the last thread, the truth landed like thunder. Every photo, every introduction, every random encounter that had led him to Meghan, it all looped back to one figure: Marcus Anderson. To the public, Marcus was charming, a professional host for Soho House, nothing more. But behind closed doors, he was a power broker, a gatekeeper of influence, a man who introduced the right people at the right time. Because once Marcus opened a door, it never really closed. By the time Harry realized how much control had shifted, it was already too late. Meghan had mastered the one skill royal life never taught: narrative ownership. She didn't just escape the monarchy, she replaced it. The prince who once rebelled against the crown now found himself serving another, one far quieter, sharper, and infinitely more powerful. Because sometimes the throne isn't made of gold, it's made of influence, and Meghan sat on hers without ever needing a crown. When the royal gates finally closed behind them, the world thought, freedom at last, peace, privacy, no more cameras. But silence? It never came. Because Meghan understood something deeper than any royal. In a world built on image, whoever controls the story controls everything. "We're being brainwashed by these Hollywood people," one insider murmured. "They think this is how you make money, even if it means destroying the monarchy." Almost overnight, her circle expanded. New PR firms, Hollywood strategists, image fixers, not palace veterans, but masters of the celebrity monarchy. The documentaries, the interviews, the tell-alls, they weren't confessions, they were campaigns. Every release was perfectly timed, a royal scandal here, a heartfelt revelation there, each one crafted to redirect headlines, reshape sympathy, and tighten her grip on the global stage. When criticism flared, a tearful interview appeared. When questions Tensions rose, a rebrand followed, faster than the tabloids could refresh. Even Netflix insiders whispered that early drafts of their docuseries were heavily rewritten after Meghan's personal review sessions. Scenes softened, quotes reframed. The story wasn't just told, it was engineered. And behind those edits, the same web of communications advisors, the same Soho House names, the same Marcus Anderson whispers guiding the tone. Every narrative echoed one message: Meghan the victim, Meghan the visionary, Meghan the voice of change. Her guest list at the wedding, another court aide sighed, showed her real ambition wasn't the throne in London, it was stardom in California. Even Harry's voice began to change. Gone was the fiery rebel who'd once defied the palace. Now his tone melted from outrage into apology, from independence into echo. He wasn't telling his story anymore, he was defending hers. Media analysts call it narrative inversion. Turn scrutiny into sympathy, ambition into activism, strategy into survival. By the time the cameras stopped rolling, one truth became impossible to ignore. Meghan hadn't escaped royal media machinery. She had rebuilt it, with herself at the center. In that empire, truth isn't discovered, it's edited, frame by frame, until only one version remains: hers. Maybe it was destined to end this way. Not with a crown, but with control. Not inside a palace, but inside a perfectly curated story. Because when you trace every thread, from that yacht photo to the orchestrated introductions, from the curated guest list to the global media empire, the picture changes. It stops looking like romance. It starts looking like recruitment. Every friendship, every invitation, every opportunity, timed to perfection. It wasn't chance, it was architecture. I truly believe, one royal insider said softly, that when she met Harry, she whispered in his ear, "Harry, you and I could change the world." And maybe she believed that. Maybe he did too. But changing the world and controlling it are two very different things. At the center of it all stood the woman the world thought it knew. To admirers, Meghan Markle is pure transformation. The girl who rose above cruelty, class, and criticism to redefine what royalty means. To her critics, she's ambition polished into empathy. Every smile rehearsed, every tear placed like punctuation. But to Harry, she's the haunting question that won't let him sleep. The love that might have been real, tangled with the manipulation that made it impossible to know. Because if the photos, the timelines, and the introductions were orchestrated, then what part of their story was ever authentic? Was it fate that brought her to him? Or a script she never confessed she was following? Maybe both, maybe neither, and that's what torments him the most. The world saw a fairy tale. Harry saw the machinery behind it, and once you've seen the strings, you can never believe in magic again. Maybe the official version is true, maybe it isn't, but one thing's undeniable. It was never accidental. From the glittering parties to the polished interviews, from Marcus Anderson's invisible guidance to Meghan's unstoppable ascent, every moment feels like a chapter written long before Harry ever turned the page. Because love stories fade, but legacies, especially the ones crafted in private clubs, sealed with champagne, and whispered through power circles, those are designed to last forever. And this wasn't just a romance. It was the making of a modern monarchy, Hollywood style. So maybe destiny didn't bring them together after all. Maybe it was design. And in that design, the prince lost his crown, while the actress kept the spotlight. And if you still think it was all chance, go watch the evidence for yourself. The yacht, the bag, the faces, the pattern, it's all there. You're watching Star Spotlight, where the truth doesn't hide behind palace walls, it hides between the headlines.